Hey there, fellow creators. Ben here from Centerblock Studios, and welcome to a live painting thing. Bear with me for the next couple of minutes. I'm trying to set up stuff and get this out in social media because I was like, hey, we'll be good by 7:20. Nope, I'm totally not good by 7:20. So this is probably going to take me about 5 to 10 minutes, so just bear with me in the next few minutes. And then I'm going to get started on the actual show. If, god damn. Tablet wants to work properly, but it never does. Running bootleg programs just to get Instagram working. Okay, I need that thing which didn't open even though it should have. Because apparently everything has to be goddamn complicated. There we go. There's Instagram. Got that. Good morning from Australia. Wow. Well, good evening from the eastern United States. Wow. See, I thought there would be something worth doing this late in the evening today because I figured I'd get some overseas people, and hey, I did. I gotta pop out chat now that I'm thinking about it and get this over to my other screen so I can actually see chat because that would be a good thing, I imagine. So I'm gonna start this painting tonight as soon as I get this stuff out to social media that I'm streaming because I haven't yet, at least not for a while. So yeah, Twitter's still a thing I gotta do. Sunday. Okay, so yeah, Sunday evening live show. It's on Twitter. It's on that. I think when I start streaming, it automatically goes to the community Discord, which is cool. Which thinking backwards, I think I actually need to make that more public and make that link more public so more people can join. I've kind of kept it more private, but I think it's actually going to be bad for me in the long run. Long run to keep that community as reserved as I've made it. So I've done that thus far. So this weekend thus far has been kind of a bust. Um, I've spent the majority of the time. The most productive thing I did this entire weekend is I ripped out a bush in my garden. That's about it, and that took like I don't know 45 minutes. So mostly I've wasted the entire weekend. So I was like, you know what? I've not only am I really pressed for painting right now because I haven't done anything productive in the studio for about a month, but also, I mean, I'm just like I've got to paint something and otherwise I'm gonna be like just strangling somebody at work this week. Um, so that's kind of where I'm sitting now. Also turn a fan on, so hopefully that's not hitting the mic. If it is, you guys let me know because I mean I've got a dehumidifier and a fan going. So if guys are getting weird feedback on the mic, just let me know and I'll look into that in terms of turning things off. But humidity dropped recently, but it's still way warmer than it should be. And I'm like almost really rusty on painting too, just because it's like I haven't done any major projects in a while, so I have to just kind of rely on my base skills and what I'm good with, I suppose. So I'm gonna mix up a yellow to start. Actually, I was gonna grab my Indian yellow, but I want to get my high flow dialeride to mix with the cad yellow, because that's where my brain's working right now. 'Cause I want a yellow sky for this piece. That's just, I know that's where I need to start. So that's good. Also, oh my god. Wow, okay, I do not have as much headphone space as I thought I did. Shoot. I'm probably going to be putting my headset down a couple of times then, because I thought I had way more cord space than I do currently, but I guess I don't. Sometime earlier this year, I got a new headset, and I lost like 5 feet. I guess it would be like 1.5 meters of headphone space, which is a lot when you're used to it. Also didn't put in my extension cables tonight. I just plugged it in and decided to go because I cared more about going rather than trying to worry about the technical details. Like I need the studio time more than I need have to worry about the technical details. So that's my focus right now. Also, how much of that's showing up? Okay, good. The palette is on camera. Good. Good. So nice, bright, warmish yellow that I'm starting to mix up. Then we're going to mix that with the white and push in some, I don't even know what my notes are for this. What is this one? Gold sky, thin trailing clouds. Okay. So all of that's going to have to be done in one go. I think I'm rusty on social life. Oh well. I'm rusty on maybe the persona of a social life. I mean, I've still had a social life throughout the course of the past 2 months. It just hasn't been the online social life. But nice to see you guys are here and watching and oh crap, it's still, I wish, okay, this top chat garbage that YouTube pulls, I hate. It's like top chat, no, live chat. All the comments, not just whatever comments you feel like filtering to me. I want to see everybody's comments. Okay, so I got that yellow. That's going to be way more yellow than I need. Because I'm going to be mixing a lot of white into this. And I should actually write down white on my supply list for the fall. Because I do need some white acrylic. It's actually probably the first time in about 4 years I've needed to buy white acrylic. And where's my supply list? I don't know if I have one yet. So let's, whoa, my god, fan. Let's start it tonight. Wow, okay, I have way too many pens. I take that back, I don't have enough pens. Alright, so, fall, blick list, linseed oil is number 1. Because I've finally like used up the bottle that I got from my mom's art stuff, like from her stuff from the 80s. It only took me, what, 8 years to go through that linseed oil. And then white acrylic. Probably gonna stick with the Utrecht Studio paint because that's a solid pint and it's a slightly thinner viscosity and it works well for me. All right. That's the start. That's the start of the fall list. Which chances are I will not be getting. By the way, I'm bolding heavily. No shit! You must be new, by the way. Like if you're seeing me lean over like this and be like, wow, you're bald, I'm like, I know, thanks. Didn't need to hear that for the millionth fucking time. I'm not angry about it, but really. I know. I know. I'm not blocking anybody unless I have to. Don't don't hope I don't have to do that. But the community has been good thus far. I hope I don't have to do that to anybody. Um, I think it's happened maybe once, and it was just somebody was literally just spamming me with questions that there's the point where it's like you're not listening to anything I'm saying, so you get blocked. That's it. But no, that's all right. No, I get it. I'm balding. It's a thing. Um, you, there's a lot of people like people who shave their head. There are people that will uh, use Rogaine forever, and I actually I was actually one of those people for a while. I was doing like the cheap generic Walmart stuff, trying to stave off the inevitable. But at a certain point, I was like, you know what? There are more important things in my life than whether or not I've got hair. Like as soon as you like own a house and have a mortgage payment and like and artistically are making art and putting that in a gallery and having that other whole other stress on you, it's like, do I have hair? That's not even like it's like I don't care anymore. I don't. So it's like I will the way I look at it is if I'm the one to make the first joke, then it's okay. If somebody else makes the first joke, it's like I appreciate what you're doing in terms of trying to make light of the situation, but like let the person who has the problem make the joke first, and then it's all right. But so I'm mildly annoyed that you're like, hey, this guy has no hair, but it's like, yeah, I get it. I've been around for a while. It's okay. Um, Also, I love hearing new bald jokes. I actually I actually do. My two favorites are that's not a forehead, that's a five head, and it looks like the hair on your head is afraid of the hair on your face. Those are my by far my two favorites. But if you can come up with another one, more power to you. I don't need to hear about you shaving that. That's not okay. That's worse, man. I appreciate what you're doing, Lisa, but that's not something I needed to hear about. Not on an art stream. Jeez. Sorry, trying to keep up with comments. Not that there's a lot of them currently, but oh man, I don't know if that Nate guy's still watching, but jokes on him for looking for the girls to impress, because I am decidedly single. Like I decided several years, well, not decided, but came to the emotional and spiritual conclusion that I just I don't want to pursue a relationship. So jokes on you, because I'm not trying to impress people in either direction. I'm just trying to paint. That said, let's try and paint because I've been trying to do that for the past how long has it been now? Uh Lost my mouse. Okay, almost 15 minutes. I haven't even put brush to canvas. So let's start doing that. My, actually, I'm gonna get some water down first. Spray bottle joys. Oh, wow. Yeah, so God, maybe I have to stream just Sunday nights because like suddenly like wow, everybody's here. Maybe I'm just lucking out. I don't know. It seems to vary a little bit. Um, but yeah, I love painting. I love talking to you guys, and I need to be doing more of the former rather than the latter as of late. Just because I really like what I've been like forcing myself to be distracted in every other way other than where I am currently. So it's just like let's just freaking paint tonight. But if you guys have any questions whatsoever besides the fact that I'm super fucking bald, um, feel free to drop them, man. Whether that be structural art advice, I have honestly no uh, qualm of setting this project aside to answer a question, if need be. But I will say that this today is my focus. So you know, do what you can in regards to being respectful of that. Uh, uh, April Tobin Acrylics Day, yes. Acrylics most days. Acrylics are my go-to. I'm not sure. Handful of the people in chat as well as just long-term. Excuse me. Long-term subscribers I do know. Lisa Lovely's been around forever. Forgive me if I don't know you by name if you've been around as a subscriber. But acrylics are my go-to. Medium for large-scale big paintings and everything like that. So if you see me working on a canvas roughly 12 by 12 or larger, I'm gonna probably be working with acrylics. Although recently I've been playing with an acrylic base and an oil overtone, but by the time that hits, oh, wow, okay, that's a hell of a mess. Just messed the hell out of that. That's all right. That's not covered yet. We're fine. Um, Acrylics are my go-to medium, and if I'm considering myself anything, it's an acrylic painter. But I will use just about anything. What am I making? I'm making a landscape. Isn't that obvious? No. I don't think I've tweeted this out, at least maybe not for a while. I turned off autofocus, so this probably isn't going to focus in, but I'll hold it up at least. This upper sketch, essentially something similar to a weeping willow tree in front of a cliff with a bunch of waterfalls. It's actually when did I do this? Holy shit! I sketched this in November, and I'm just now getting around to it. So, actually, that's fairly base standard for me. Actually, like I am almost always. Whoa, my god, that just went flying. Butterfingers tonight. I have a general working set. Like sometimes I'll just grab a piece I just sketched last week to work on if I'm really excited about it. But oh wow, that smeared right where I didn't want it to. Oh well, we'll work on it. Just want to get those darker cloud spots in there. But generally speaking, I'm almost always 6 months behind, at least, on whatever I'm sketching, or whatever I'm painting versus whatever's in my sketchbook. So, I'm working on something that's actually now, I guess, closer to 9 or 10 months old. But it's always something landscapey, usually. Unless you're catching me on Twitch, in which case I'm doing it. I'm either playing a game or doing a drawing based on a game that I have played. Wow, that is driving me fucking nuts. You get that dark fleck of paint, dried paint in there. It just destroys that sky. So I'm keeping my paint kind of loose, leaning between the heavy body and just mixing down with some water, because I mix with water. My god, it's blasphemy. I mix with water. I've been doing it for 20 years. It's okay. You can mix with water. It works. Just gotta dip your brush. My thing is dip, shake off the excess, and then you're good. You're just wetting the bristles, so things work. I've needed this. I've really needed this time. Sometimes the hardest part of painting is just getting started. Just like force yourself to get going, and then you're fine. Like, but man, like how many times I've just been like, oh, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything, and like as soon as I start, like, why haven't I been doing anything? That actually looks pretty good. I think I can work with that. Yeah, that's pretty solid. All right. Yeah, so I mean, I know I lean over my canvas a lot, and that's just something I've never been able to really uh, uh, rectify beyond that. It's just like there are other art channels on YouTube that their focus is making the best video possible. Um, but I don't necessarily do that. I make the best art possible. And the way I think back to it is, I'm a fan of the old Discovery Channel show Mythbusters, and specifically what its one host Adam Savage does now with the channel Tested. And there was a Q&A that he was doing at some point where I guess the story was about having James Cameron's team. This was back when the I guess 2012, I think the movie Avatar came out. But like, hey, let's maybe try and film Mythbusters in 3D. And the team spent like a couple hours with them. Oh wow, that's what I get for putting the that's what get for putting this other painting right next to me while I'm working. I do this so damn much. I really ruin some other painting by having what I'm working on right next to it. And then I get splatters because I'm a messy painter. And now I gotta wipe it off. And probably have to rework it later. Jeez, just sit this on the floor so I don't mess it up. Anyway, so what this sort of James Cameron team was surprised when they visited the Mythbuster set was they said, so wait a minute, the experiment takes precedent over the filming? And the Mythbusters team goes, oh, yeah, I guess that's true, but we never really thought about it. That's how I approach the art, my videos, is that the artwork takes precedent over the video. So I want the artwork to be good before the video is good. So I will let the video be subpar if it means the artwork is better. And that's sort of where I sit with making videos. And I can't remember the point I was trying to make with this original point, but the thing was something about my head getting in the way. So, yeah, my head gets in the way a lot because I'm focused on the artwork. I think this was the point. I'm focused on the artwork more than I'm focused on if my head's in the like. If I was focused on whether or not my head was in the way, the painting would look like shit. Because I would be focusing on the video rather than focusing on the painting. That's the end of that point. Also, I see you guys in comments and I'm ignoring you, so I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But this is a pretty good sky. I might give it... actually, I'm not sure. See, I might give it some mist, but I don't think I need to. I'm going to give it mist for the waterfalls. So pull out my white spray paint for that. But I want to get some darker colors in here now for the cliffs. Get my used paint together here. But I do want it to lean a little grayer than I think it is now. It's not bad. It's actually not bad the way it is. Might be able to mix in some my other use mediums. Hold on, what do these colors look like? That's that gray. That gray is always pretty much always the same. That's a little bluer. I want to get some of that. Okay, that's pretty good. And we'll lighten up and dry brush as I normally do. So I have a video that I'm partly done writing. I actually found this recently. So I've been doing these 5 things videos over the past couple of years. 5 reasons why I love landscape design. The recent one I did was something like it hasn't been released yet, but it's my 5 favorite mixing colors for acrylics. And one of the 5 things videos that's kind of been in the works for a while has been 5 ways to save money as a painter. And one of the things, specifically acrylic painting, is this thing that I started doing a while back, and it's the used paint jars. So I have all these old medium jars from Golden, because I use a lot of mediums and gels and stuff in my work. So I started doing, which is what started with this one a couple of years ago. It's called used paint. So when I'm finished with a painting session, what I'll do is I'll scrape off my palette and put it in this jar, and it becomes this nasty gray color. And that way I'm not actually wasting paint, and then I can use this as a building block for other paintings and other works. And then there's 2.0, which, because that at some point that got filled, so this is actually a little bit bluer than that is. And then at some point I realized, like, part of the reason why it turns gray is because I'm adding white to it. So let's have used paint, no white. And the used paint, no white is actually a really nice, like, leaning more neutral, but kind of is more brown. So oftentimes I'm grabbing the no white mix for a base for like tree trunks and some different things like that. I have used paint white only, which is the opposite of the no white stuff. So this is sort of an off-white. And so when I need something that's I know is an off-white that I can use like a tinting white, I'm grabbing that. And then I have used paint mediums, which is mixed color mediums, from gels to paste to thick paste to gritty paste. And I've come up with basically the thickest, most disgusting texture medium in the world because of that. But yeah, so I have all these paint jars in the back of my regular. I have a lineup of like gels and pastes, and then I have the used stuff in the back, which you can see if you watch my studio tour video. But oh shoot, when did that flake on there? That's bad. Don't want to have that flaking on there. So yeah, so I'm grabbing some of that used paint in order to build out some of these rock textures here. Remember when I was getting back to comments in the chat? I didn't do that. So let's have a look at chat comments, because I haven't in a while. April, I want to be single too. Well, tell your boyfriend / girlfriend, I guess. I don't know how to approach that. Tried painting curtains. It's curtains for you. No, painting on fabrics. Well, I know canvas is fabric, but painting on loose fabric is tricky. You tend to need some heat set fabric medium that I've never touched, but I bought it because I know I'll use it someday. GAC, what's that, 900? Yeah, okay. Okay, Nate, I'm. If you're still watching, you gotta ease up on your life. Like, most of these losers watch. Like, you can't. Please do not call my community losers. I will block you so damn fast. Like, I want to have people who are interested in art in the community, but when you bring the level of that level of, like, well, you whatever, like, you're borderline at this point. So watch what you're saying right now. I mean, really. Okay, fuck it, Nate. I'm seeing your comments. You're getting banned. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't. You're spouting. I don't need you in my. Well, okay, I'm moving the wrong dang computer here. I hate doing this. I really do. I do, but like, you're getting kicked. I hate kicking people. I do. I'm sorry. I really like bringing any kind of negativity into this channel is not something I'm a part of, and I cannot I cannot have you here if that's where if you're coming into my live chat doing that, you can't be here. This is a place for learning. This is a place for growing. If you're gonna personally come and attack me as well as okay, so the comment like I just did this and thing in the chat and people watching this later, but the comment that hit me that I just read going through back the chat was 20 years of painting doesn't show, and that is something that tells me that either one, you don't understand painting, or two, you don't understand what. Just tell me you don't understand anything. Like that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get a little ranty for a second here. Like I don't like blocking anyone. I don't like banning anyone, but having my work as well as my personal appearance attacked publicly like that is not something I'm willing to deal with. And wouldn't normally have to deal with this publicly, but this again, this just happened in live chat, so it's like you're bald. I can see the zits on your head. You're not worth the 20 years of like you don't belong in this community. You don't. Um, I think I've seen the guy before commenting here and there on videos. I don't know positive, negative because I can't think that far back, but someone like that just brings everyone else down, brings me down. I don't need that, and no one in this community needs that. So Nate, see ya, goodbye. You will not be seen again on this channel. Feel free to watch if you want to learn, but don't bring that level of hatred because nobody needs that, especially not in this day and age. And usually when somebody is making comments like that, I will make this note for anyone watching, anyone creating work. I'm not offended. I'm not going to carry this beyond this evening, or I would say probably beyond this 5 minutes because I'm going to get back to this painting and forget about it. But when people make comments like that, they're not mad at you. They're not mad at your work. Usually, 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't like something about themselves. And so they're taking it out on you. So like, well, you're successful because, well, why are you being successful? Because I haven't been. So screw you. It's like, no, like when someone's doing that, they're just sad. They're sad with themselves. They're sad with what they maybe have accomplished or maybe haven't accomplished. So when someone makes comments like that, they're not doing it to hurt you. They're doing it to make themselves feel better. Feel better. And all I can do is say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that whatever I've done to you has brought something negative in yourself, but don't take it out on somebody randomly online because it doesn't solve any problems. All it does is make you feel, might make you feel better, but it makes you look weaker. I think the old adage is those who perceive themselves as strong look weaker to everyone else. But those who perceive themselves as weak look stronger to everyone else. And I'd like to think that, not to seem narcissistic, but I'd like to think that I'm above that. Not that I think I'm stronger, but because I know I'm not. Because I know I've done that to people, and I can't even begin to apologize to those people because I don't know them anymore. I don't know where they went and what they've become, but I know what it feels like to be attacked like that, and I know what it means to do that. And it means you feel something about yourself. So I'm sure he's probably not watching it again at this point since he can't comment anymore. But if you ever run into someone like that in your life, in real life or online, don't take it personally. It's not your fault. It's theirs. and never let that get to you, because if you do, they win. And if you can shrug it off, if you can keep going, they don't get to win, and that's the whole point of all of that. I've had enough. I have had enough of bullies in my life to know better, and it took me a long time to know better. But I know there are a lot of people out there that don't know that, um, and I hate to have tangented my painting to get into that, but that is something that is very specific that needs to be said. That, I mean, if you're putting your artwork online, you're gonna get haters. You're absolutely gonna get haters, and all you can do is either block them if you don't want to deal with it, and that's a way to do it. Um, I just did. I like to try and resolve the conflict without doing that, but sometimes that's all people are trying to do is just get a rise out of you, get the attention. They're trying to bring you down to bring attention to themselves, which isn't right. It's not right in real life. It's not right artistically. It's not right online, and you shouldn't let it happen. So that said, let's maybe try and get back to some comments now, because that just took a turn apparently that I didn't expect it to. I think I found my highlight for next week, I guess. I'm sorry. No, I'm really sorry to get ranty about that, but I've dealt with it. I mean, I've been on YouTube now for, God, 15 years maybe. Um, so I've gotten it over the years, and I love being able to show people up, but especially in a live show, I won't have people in comments bringing myself and other people down. So that's just not going to happen. Also, I notice Lisa Lovely is still commenting. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around and watching. Um, and I'm going to get back to reading comments and painting here. Thanks, Lisa. So anyhow, back to the painting. Yeah, I'm building up some cliff shapes here. So I've got a base sort of leans toward a darker mid-tone at this point. So I want to get, this is just the fraying of the brush is like that little bit of splintering with the brush. That I hate that. That's why I keep buying new brushes. I gotta thin this a little. And actually, I just recorded a video Saturday about this. So I tried to stream. This is funny. I tried to stream yesterday while I was recording videos, and I did. And I streamed for like an hour and a half, and I went to then later like time code it, and I didn't get audio. Like I had people in chat, and they didn't tell me that there was no audio. I was like, how did you not tell me there was no audio? Damn it! Like I thought there was audio the whole time, and it was just me basically mouthing words to myself. Like I had so much to say yesterday, and showed off projects and showed off art materials, and there was no audio, so I had to delete the video, which sucks. But what I got out of that anyway was being like, hey, I gotta make videos again. So I recorded 2 videos in addition to like another one that I recorded I think like a week ago. So I do have stuff in the wings now finally, after kind of being absent for a while. I just kind of missed having the live bloopers happening. Not that I mean the whole video was not exciting. I mean, it was a lot of me wandering around and pacing the floor and quite literally behind the scenes because I wasn't doing anything. But I was just really mad at myself that I didn't get audio. And I think part of that was just I think the mic on my webcam was actually broken. So that's kind of where that sits. Part of this piece was wanting me This piece I'm working on is I haven't done like a yellow piece in a while. Something that plays into golds a bunch. So I wanted to do something like that that really reflects sort of like gold tones and yellow tones, which I thought would be really fun. So at this point, I'm just establishing some base colors. That's the next one, so it's up here. Just filling in that color. So part of the reason why I actually didn't paint this weekend, other than right now, because I didn't actually have any canvas prepped, and I didn't realize that. Like I was walking in not knowing that what I was going to paint in the first place. But I was like, I don't even have canvas to paint on. Like I don't have anything. I mean I have a black canvas here, um, but you kind of need to have an idea to paint on a black canvas before you go to a black canvas, because otherwise you run into the problem of being like, I got a black canvas, and all of my ideas require like white backgrounds, so that's not really useful. Um, I ate your sandwich. I like that username. Thank you. Um, I don't deserve it, but thank you. Painting is problem solving. Just gotta keep pushing it. Also, if I streamed on a more regular basis, I'd probably manage to get one of you guys to actually moderate my streams, so I don't have to worry about people like earlier. But uh, yeah, it's a thing. Like I said, won't carry it to tomorrow, but the rest of the night, it's probably gonna drive me nuts all the rest of the night. Hard to shake stuff like that off sometimes, but trying to focus on the piece. Oh shit balls, that splattered. Damn it. Now I got a black spot in the sky, or a whatever spot in the sky. Damn. Oh shit. I have to paint over that now. Crap. Did not want to have to do that. This is what I get for being a messy painter. Is you have to paint over stuff and then rectify changes that you didn't need to have to rectify otherwise. Like trying to do a painting restoration on your own painting. Jeez. If you managed to do it right the first time, you wouldn't have the splatters. But no, I gotta be a messy painter and have a mess when I'm working. I really gotta shave down this brush because the splayed hairs on this are driving me insane. I used to cringe at the concept of like taking scissors to a paintbrush, but it's like you have to at some point, because like, I mean, if you really take care of your brush and your brushes and you're anal about having them sit in the water, then you don't have that problem. But I leave my brushes just hanging out in water, so of course they're going to split, which is what happens when you leave your brushes just hanging out in the water. But if you don't leave your brushes hanging in the water, then you get dried paint in the brush. So it's literally it's just a trade-off. In either direction, it's a trade-off. It's like, do you want to have splayed bristles or do you want to have dried paint in your brush? You're gonna have both as long as you don't if you don't do it right, you know. Just gonna get some other color in here to the waterfall to offset this by the time I put the white in. Because you can plaster the white over top of the waterfall all you want, but if you don't have any color underneath it, it's gonna look like crap. Because the white, essentially the white dry brush that you'll do on top of a waterfall is really all about the fact that it's a dry brush that's picking up on color underneath it. And if you're not picking up on color underneath it, then you're not getting as good of a color as you could with it. So that's all I'm trying to do by just making that yellow. Also reflecting the sky color a little bit. Not that you'll see a whole crap load of it in the fall itself, but it'll be something. Okay. So what's going on with you guys? Oh, Dee Dee's here. Awesome. There's a lot of kids out of school right now with nothing better to do. Not being out of school has nothing to do with being an asshole online. Like that's not an excuse. Problem in solving and painting is as hard as solving calculus problems in math. I disagree. I think it depends on who you are, because I had a hard enough time solving damn algebra problems in math, but I could look at a painting and solve it and solve the problem in 10 minutes or less. I would say probably 5 minutes or less. I'm not a numbers person. I can't think math. Actually, I heard this quote a while back, also from earlier, sort of the Adam Savage tested Mythbusters realm, and it's the line, shoot, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm good at math. I'm not good with numbers, I think is what the quote was. Because and I think that's kind of where I sit, is that I understand a lot of the math concepts, but numbers aren't what I do. Specifically in the example that was given was that if you're someone who edits video, you understand and you work with computers, you understand numbers actually a lot, or you understand math a lot, because you know that there's 8 bits in a byte. And then the subsequently all the kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and etc. are all multiples of each other through 8. Specifically 1024. So there's 1024 bytes in a kilobyte, and 1024 kilobytes in a megabyte, and 1024 megabytes in a gigabyte. If you edit video, specifically in the Western side of the world, you know that you're working at 30 frames per second. And 30 frames per second, actually it's not 30 frames per second, it's 29.97 frames per second. But you understand what that means, and you can scrub through a video, a section of a video to map that out, and you can know that you get those 30 frames, and you can master those to a certain degree, and how many of those per second, and map that out in your video. So it's like you understand math, you just don't understand numbers. Or maybe it's the other way around. I understand numbers, I don't understand math. But yeah, there's also a lot of math in art. The more you start doing measurements and you start proportioning things out, I found this is always my favorite example. I did a painting called Something Extraordinary, which actually that um, title and tagline in a lot of ways has come to define a lot of the work that I create now. Um, so I had a 5x7 sketchbook page that I wanted to scale up, uh, quite literally scale up to a 16x20 canvas. However, a 5x7 inch aspect ratio does not actually translate to a 16x20 aspect ratio. So what I had to do is I had to do the math. But in order to do the math, I had to do one direction and proportion it up in inches, and the other direction I proportioned it up in centimeters, because that's the only way I could do it both logically without doing 6 billion types of maths, and doing it with percentages and decimals and having to whatever the hell ever. 16ths, 18ths, 32nds, whatever inches. I'm like, this is a pain in the ass. Let's just do one side in inches and one side in centimeters, and then it worked. Um, so I could do the numbers, I could do the ratios, but I couldn't do the math to do it to both sides in inches or both sides in, well, I probably could do both sides in centimeters because they tend to be better that way. But yeah, like there's a very distinctive difference in how you approach problems mentally, and how, like, and again, it's different for everybody. For me, I am always more visual, and because I'm more visual, I like big round numbers. As soon as I'm dealing with fractions and decimal points, I don't want to have anything to deal with that. But that's really funny anyway. Um, Trying to get math and measurements on paintings. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. It really is. Why am I saying butt? It's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. It really is. I never censor myself. Why am I doing it now? But yeah, if you weren't, what's funny is I was acting like everyone's like, oh, everyone's bad with fractions. I was actually good with fractions. That was the one thing in math class that I could do really well, was fractions. Now, if we're translating fractions to decimals, well, then I can't fucking do any of that. But um, it was just funny that it was that level of translation, and I'm going to grab my titanium buff because I want to tint this color up, and I don't want to make it overpowering. So Titan buff, and I'm actually going to grab my Indian yellow, and probably a little bit of some kind of a red. Actually, I was using the I think the Nicolai's of Gold high flow, so I'm probably going to keep using that. That way it's not too... Wow, that went everywhere. That way it's not too crazy. So yeah, I'm just going to do some little brush mixing here. But yeah, I'm not a math person at all. But I understand some math principles. Because I understand some math principles, I can do some stuff. But no, I get you. Like, this just... As soon as numbers are involved, my brain just shuts off. Some people are just asses. I guess you're watching back from the other part. Also, welcome, Jeff Griffiths. Sorry, I'm not really looking. Good to have you here, though. Oh shoot, there's a question in here I totally missed. Oh, hold on a second. Also, I realize I'm like, you guys are seeing the top of my head, but that's a thing. What canvases are good but are not too expensive? Wow. Okay. That's actually... I also read my question. Sorry, I'm sorry I missed that. Also, you must be new to my streams because I am really bad at looking at chat. I'm sorry. So if you're concerned about pricing and canvas, work on canvas boards. I these days I have mixed feelings about canvas boards because if canvas boards are cheaper, they work just as well. They're fine to work on. I've worked on canvas boards for years, but it really depends on. Like you work on a canvas board, but the trade off with a canvas board is you have to frame it. Like if you're gonna put it in a show, at the very least, or just trying to sell it, it has to be in a frame. It has to be wired. You have to be able to put it in a frame to hang on a wall. So what you save in cost of canvases that are canvas boards, you will make up the cost in frames. If you're doing what I do and do stretched canvases, now a lot of my, I'm gonna have to put this down. My stretched canvases I oftentimes do myself. As example with this one, I prefer stretching my own canvas in a lot of ways, but there are ups and downs to stretching your own versus buying the pre-made ones. But that's something I won't get into tonight, unless I really get distracted, because that's a rant for another. I feel like a rant for another day. But I preferred whether I'm getting something like I'll go to Michael's, my local craft store. If you live in the U.S., you know Michael's probably pretty well. Whether it's their canvas or my own, I prefer back stapled canvases. There's ones called gallery wrapped ones where they literally pinch the canvas into. You know what? I probably have an example of one of these sitting in the corner. Hang on. I bet I have one of these sitting in here. Shit. Maybe not. Hold on. These are all. That's a gallery wrapped. Yep. Okay. That's a gallery wrapped canvas. Gallery wrapped canvases, you can't unstretch. So it's stapled in, the canvas is pushed in, and it's basically pushed into this edge where the frame is. Wow, there's Velcro on this. Shit. This is the Velcro on the back of this canvas tells me that I showed this painting 10 years ago. Here's this painting, by the way. Definitely is a piece that. Also, my camera's really off. To point that down a little more. This is an old painting. Definitely shows a progression in the past. What was this? January of 2013. So this painting's 7 years old. I still stand by it. It's still a good piece, but damn if it doesn't have its flaws. Okay, so the whole point of this was the back staple versus the gallery wraps. This pinches in, and the point of this is you can't unstretch this. You can't take the canvas off, roll it up, and put a new painting on this. And that's something that I don't like. I don't like that level of permanence, which is also why I don't work on wood panels a whole hell of a lot. Because I like being able to saying, this painting didn't sell, it didn't accrue a lot of money. Let's take let's take the staples out of the back, roll it up, put a new painting on top of it, and go again. That way you're reusing the stretcher bars, and rather than like going in with the canvas. And the same thing goes for canvas boards. You can paint over a canvas board, but then that painting is lost. And again, you have to paint. You have to get a frame for that. A stretched canvas like this, you can wire. You can put two screw eyes together and a piece of picture wire together and hang this on a wall as is. Now you can frame one of these, and I've sold to people who have. Now, I make it a point in my own work to paint around the edges of the painting. This is strictly a personal preference for an artist. I've seen people just paint the edges black, and I've actually done that for certain pieces. There's a thing of tacking wood to the edge to create a faux floating frame, and that's totally a way to do it as well. But the way I both design my pieces, both in its layout as well as in the way I work with stretched canvas is the painting goes all the way around the edge. The only reason the painting stops is because I ran out of canvas. I like the idea of hanging a piece on a wall and you can go to one side or the other side and the painting keeps going. And again, that's a personal preference, and it's something I do for cost effectiveness, because somebody can throw a frame on this, I will have nothing against them from doing it, or someone can not throw a frame on this and enjoy it as I painted it. But um, it is an option. So canvas boards are cheap. They're very, very cheap. Um, I painted on I painted on canvas boards for years. When I, one, learned to stretch my own canvas, and two, learned to understand that little bit of a give you get in painting with a stretched canvas, I tended to shy away from them. Um, Even you can get some really cheap back stapled canvases at your local craft store. Um, they're not great. They tend to rip easier if you put too much pressure on them. Um, but they're still good canvases. Canvas is one of those things that, like, unless you're like really, really particular, the cheapest option works well, and can work well for a long time. I mean, there's a good reason why um, these bring your own bottle drink and paint a painting with a class of people. There's a reason why those things are successful, is because they can buy like a whole batch of 16 by 20 canvases dirt cheap, um, and give them to people because they're like maybe like, I don't know, $5 for the canvas. Um, but if you're somebody who's focusing on fine art, you might start to look into things like the thickness of the canvas itself, the weave, which is going to be end up being a looser weave, is going to give you a coarser, rougher canvas to work with. And I've worked with those too. A lot of times you're using something like a molding paste, or just like an extra 3-4 layers of gesso to smooth that out for yourself. Um, or you can like maybe spend an extra $10 and get a canvas either pre-stretched or, again, stretching yourself. There's a tighter weave, and a tighter weave is going to get you something that uh, tends to need less gesso or molding paste layers to smooth out. And again, it's thicker, it's easier to work with. You don't need to do as much. Like, canvas is such a trade-off. Like, either you're using super cheap stuff and forcing it to the level of smoothness that you want it to be, or you're getting super expensive stuff, but you're also like, do I love that permanence of it? So again, it's an experience thing. I'm sorry, I'm like really, really, I didn't want to rant, but I'm ranting about this. But that's the point of a live show, is to rant about it. If you're not as confident in your painting skills, go to like a Michael's or whatever your craft store is. Get whatever the cheapest canvas you can, and just paint. Just paint, 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 until you can't paint anymore. Until you either run out of paint or you run out of canvas. And 9 times out of 10, you're running out of canvas first. But like, you can get canvas boards in packs of like 3, 5, 10 of them. Boom, 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 boom. And just paint. Just paint, 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 paint. When you're confident enough to either stretch your own or to buy a gallery wrapped canvas or whatever, by the time you're to this point, you will have done enough canvas paintings to, one, know what kind of canvas you like, and to, two, know what you want to do with your painting. So if I think the question was canvas recommendations. Go to whatever your art or craft store is, buy whatever is canvas, and paint on it. That's about it. That's the short answer. That's the 15-20 minute long answer, but it's also the short. Like, go to your store, buy something and paint on it. I mean, really. Also, I saw some other comments come through, so I gotta look now. What canvas size? Lisa Lovely. That depends on what you're doing. And also, I would say it depends on what you're painting. I actually think I have a video, it's probably like 6 years old, needs updating, on the channel called What Canvas Size Should I Use, or What Canvas Size Do I Need? The gist of that video is how long have you been painting and what do you want to do? If you've been painting for a long time, you want to amp up your size, I would say something between a 16 by 20 or larger. And I would say if you're just getting started, I would say up to a 9 by 12. And that's, I mean, those are imperial sizes, 9 by 12 inches, 16 by 20 inches. Like that's how my brain works. If you're expecting A4, A5, B4, whatever sizes, I have no idea what those mean in my head. So I apologize both in advance and retrospect if that's what you're expecting me to say. But I have no idea what those sizes look like, so I can't really. Blick Premium Canvas, that stuff's great. It really is. I think a lot of my stuff came from like Utrecht back in the day, and then Blick bought out Utrecht and rebranded a lot of stuff. But I'm pretty sure the Blick Premium is what the Utrecht Artist series was that I was using probably like 6-8 years ago for a lot of stuff. Actually, I will say these days, if I'm buying a pre-stretched canvas, I'm actually going to Michael's because there's one of those stores literally 5 minutes from my house. A lot of times it's I'm going to like I'm hitting the store on the way home from work. So I'll be getting like a 12 by 24 canvas from Michael's a lot of times, just because it's a convenience for me. There is technically, yes, stretching your own canvas is cheaper in the long run, but if you just need a canvas for a quick commission, sometimes like go to your craft store, get a backstapled canvas, and you're good. Michael's canvas boards. What? I mean, it's like, well, they suck to paint on. It's like, well, that tells me that you have higher standards than what a canvas board offers. Again, what I was saying before, there is something about the push and the give that you get in a stretched canvas that once you paint on stretched canvases enough, you kind of lose that mentality of painting on a canvas board. So when you go back from a stretched canvas to a canvas board, you go, this sucks, because you're used to the give that the canvas has. And it's not that canvas boards suck. They don't. You're just used to something else at that point. And I mixed all this paint up, and now it's dry on the palette because I've been talking for 20 minutes. So now I got to mix up another batch of paint. I'm sorry. I love. This is what I love, doing the Q&A and being distracted by you guys. But at some point, it's like, yeah, I got to paint again. Oh yeah. So my light source is here. I got to pay attention to that. So let me try and get back to painting in the midst of this. Still trying to look at stuff. Yeah, so April, I hope that answers your question, if not being really long-winded. If you want the short answer, send me an email. But if you're asking during a live show, you're going to get the rant. Oh, okay, yeah. So I will say this. Both April and Lisa, I really do love 16x20 canvases. I think they're the best. Like, so I guess you could say upper to mid range size for most regular, both hobbyists and even budding professionals. Um, there's something about that size that just it's both big enough and small enough. It's big enough to be displayed. It's small enough to be manageable for the artist. Um, God, I've missed painting. Why wasn't I doing this Saturday morning when I was supposed to? I'm also like 20 not days, 20 pages behind in my sketchbook. Something I've been meaning to do for some of my second channel sketch everyday stuff, but I'm lazy as fuck, so that happens. But yeah, 16 by 20s are great. And one thing I will give you guys, um, and I showed this off during yesterday's stream, but again, yesterday's stream was a bust. Oh shit, where is it? Oh, it's over there. Oh, figures. Gotta dodge cords to get this thing. One thing I started doing a little while back, and I'm not trademarking this technique by any means, but it's this idea of changing your aspect ratio depending on what you're doing. So this is what you would call the next size up from a 16 by 20, which is a 18 by 24, I think. Yeah, that looks right. Generally pretty good at looking at a canvas being like, I know what that is. So what I started doing a little while ago is putting these black gessoed sort of bars. In this particular canvas, it's 2 inches in on either vertical side. So what this does is changes the aspect ratio of what you're painting without changing the size of the canvas. This is really useful for a 16 by 20, especially if you're doing something that's more landscapey, as the way I do. Is landscapey things tend to be better in what I call the shoot, I'm gonna forget. I think it's a 2 to 4 ratio is what I call it. So it's twice as long horizontally as it is vertically. Tends to make for a better landscape because you get a wider gambit in that way. So what I started doing a couple of years ago is I started gessoing out black areas on that to give myself a different aspect ratio for working. And then what I do at the end is then just paint those black areas over again. And what it creates is what I call sort of like the movie theater aspect ratio. It's kind of like the 16 by 9 thing ratio for like video files. So what you get is you get something that is blacked out in 2 areas. 1. Hey, Marlena's in chat! Woo! Old friend and collaborator. Glad to have you here. 1, 2, not necessarily, because 1, 2 then becomes like 1, 3, and it's why I kind of specify 2, 4, because there's something about the odd numbers that screws it up. So what you get is almost like a cinematic feel to the painting, and that's something I really, really, really enjoy. Both creating as well as just being able to kind of share that a little bit. So there's definitely something to that for sure. A little bit of white, a little bit of buff. Losing my color mixes again here. I'm talking too much. My paint's drying. Nice to see you here, Marlena. Trying to paint, but people keep asking me questions. Not saying don't ask me questions, but also I do need to paint sometime in between here. Also, for those of you guys that are watching, Marlena here in the comments, she's the one that got me into a couple of the. I think it's the color that I'm using now. It's the quinacridone Nicolazo Gold. Um, Granted, she uses, I think, the fluid version for portraiture and stuff like that, but I use the high flow for as a mixing color for weird pieces like this. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure she was the one who got me into that color, and that's the color that's given me these nice orange undertones. So hi, you're welcome. Your influence is strong with this one. Oh, that's right. I'm doing waterfalls. So there's gonna be a section behind and a section above. So I actually do have to get this white done before I do any upper level highlights. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm gonna hate myself tomorrow morning. I'm gonna be getting up to work with like 3 hours of sleep, but I don't care because I've been just dying for this type of studio time. Let's get the yellow in there. She's also the one that got me into these smaller flat brushes. Because what was the mine's screwed up at this point. It's the U-Tech drift brush. I don't remember now. Ultra white interlocked um, synthetic small flat brushes, whatever. Marlena taught me a lot about painting that I am super grateful for. But stuff I didn't realize until more recently, actually, in retrospect. The one thing I learned from her that was, fortunately, the worst was that you can't. It's really hard to go to an art store with an art friend because you just make each other buy things. This is cool. Let's buy some of this. This is cool. Let's buy some of this. Not, not good to. Not good for two artists to go to the art store together. You just end up spending way more money. Love you, Marlena. You're awesome. But really, that day, that was a that was an art all night day. I think. Like I'm going to Blix. Do you want to go to Blix? Yeah, let's go to Blix. Let's spend a shitload of money. Still though, one of the best days I've ever had, easily. Just spend money on art supplies. Sure, let's do it. Hard time painting at night. Time sleeping when you paint at night to get too excited. That's why I normally paint in the morning. I didn't this weekend because I'm a lazy bastard. Mm. Princeton brushes. Yeah. I've got a couple. I have a hard time. I have a hard time picking up the Princeton brushes just because I'm like, yeah, but like, it's $10 more than the other brush or $20 more than the other brush. And then I pick one of the Princeton brushes up and it's like, oh my god, where have you been all my life? Yeah. We spent so much money. We did. But yeah, no, like every artist I've met and let's say some of the ones. Yeah, some of the ones I've collaborated with have inspired me in some ways. What? Well, no, I take that back. Every artist I've collaborated with has inspired me in some way. but I need to paint these waterfalls, which means I need to get a different palette. Because I don't want to pollute my other colors with the white that I've got. But no, like sometimes you just need another artist to show you something different. Marlena did that for me, and a lot of other artists I've come in contact with have done that for me. But yeah, you're here. I can talk about it. Also, if anyone's manages to click on her username to head to her channel, as well as, I guess, subsequently her Instagram if it's linked, you'll have to do that yourself if it's not. Marlena Adele Vassar, or just Marlena's Musings, depending on what she's using currently. Sorry, I don't know. It's been a while. But collaborated with her a couple of times way back when. Her artwork is fantastic. Check her stuff out. Almost polar opposite to what I do, but for whatever reason, our working processes and styles seem to have meshed at some point in the past. And it's been a great ride ever since. So thanks, Marlena, for being there with me, and more luck to, I suppose, both of us in the future. But yeah, anyone from my community watching, her art's awesome. Like, really, 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 really. She does with figures what I do with rocks, and it drives. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Marlena, links are open. Feel free to just toss something in chat. Whatever you want to plug, just put a link in the chat and it should be good. Links are open, so we're all right. That waterfall. Yeah. Well, really, anyone watching, not just Marlena or April or Lisa, anyone watching here tonight, if you have something to plug, throw it in the chat. Let us know what you're doing. Always love to see what both fans of the channel as well as just other artists are doing. It really inspires me just to see what everyone's going on with what everyone's doing. Sorry, I'm drinking limoncello and bourbon tonight, so getting sillier by the minute. Well, also say, kind of been distracted by a lot of the games I've been playing lately too, so that's probably a lot of the issues I've been having. Also built a new computer recently, so that was kind of a big deal. This was a little too thick here, but now I have to both under and over rectify at the same time. Just gonna put a little more foam on top and just let it pull. Yeah, that's way too thick. I'm probably gonna end up covering this with more of my tree. Now, my initial sketch, the tree was more limited between the waterfalls and leaned more to the left. But I like the left more than I like the right, so I'm probably going to lean the tree to the right just to cover that shit up. Because that's what happens. Also, Marlena's on Instagram, as am I, so you can totally find both of us there. Art Fest, 3.5 weeks of vacation, almost nothing but art. That sounds a lot like what the Three Rivers Arts Festival usually is here, which is 2 weeks of nothing but art and music and stuff. Um, I'd say it depends a lot on where you live and what your events are. And this year, what has COVID has done to a lot of those events, like there's like two big events for me every year. Both of them have been canceled, so I'm really just trying to both produce new work and push my work in new ways, and trying to coordinate with my local, with the Redfish Bowl Gallery that I'm a part of, to try and just push that. Like COVID-19 just like fucked everything hard this year, and creative entrepreneurs are really, I'd say, probably the worst off because everything we do is a luxury. Art is, oh, wow. That's, I literally, holy, like, oh, I don't even know where. How the hell did I get paint on my wrist like this? Like, what the fuck? Just, I got like 2 showers today. I'm just getting a third apparently because I don't know how to keep myself clean, I guess. I don't, what the hell did I even touch? Like that, this color isn't thick enough anywhere on my palette. Like, where the hell did this come from? Jeez. Is it on the brush? Like, what the? Because I know my brush is hit here. Whatever. Oh man, Lisa, that's. Wow. I can't even. Wow. Screw it. My complaints mean nothing based on what you've dealt with. Jeez. I can't even comment on that. Like, I really, it's also brave on you for sharing that. I mean, that's something I wouldn't have touched in a million years publicly, if that had happened for me. I mean, it has, but I didn't talk about it on a channel for any of those things, uh, until at least 6 months after the fact. So you're just a damn hero. Like, really, you've been around forever. You're a dedicated fan. I can't even. Nothing I've dealt with this year has been to that degree. So I can't even talk on that one. So I won't. But hey, I got waterfalls, and now I need some spray paint to offset this. So 2 minutes of shaking. Mm. Mm. Thickening medium. What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Thickening medium? What are you using as thickening medium? So I'm gonna need cap cleaner and caps. Okay. So yeah, to those watching, need to, I guess, make it more public at this point, but I have a Discord server specifically for the channel called Cinderblock Society. A place to both voice chat and text chat, talk about art, what you're working on. Oh, molding paste. Okay, that makes sense. Although molding paste makes everything matte. Uh, like glossy paints become matte when you mix them with molding paste, so I think that's a weird trade-off in that way. And I do need apparently to make the Discord server more public. But I would love to have more of you guys on there to open up the art discussion in a more regular basis. Probably more golds for next year than this year, but yeah, I think we're probably good with this cap now. Let's find a cap. That looks like a regular cap. Oh, but that's a good. These are both good regular caps, I bet. Yep. All right. Well. Okay. So this is what I'm fishing these caps out of. Oh, that fan's still on. Oh yeah. Are I should turn that off at this point. Actually, I don't need to screw up my sprays with this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I could use a shield. No specialty papers, good papers. Just need a sheet of basic sketch paper would be great. No. Well, this would be fine. This is basically tracing paper. This would be good. Something for the... Wow, we're getting cords and everything. I just don't need the spray to go further than it should. Basically creating that little shield for myself. This was called light drawing paper. It's basically tracing paper. Got it in a roll way back when. Okay. It's probably too much. There we go. And then, oh wow, I almost just destroyed a painting by cast spraying my cap residue. That would have been fucking catastrophic. In theory, I should be using the cap cleaner out in the garage because it actually uses a solvent. And it's going to make the studio smell ridiculous for the next 20 minutes, but whatever. Yeah, and so this cap cleaner is just low odor mineral spirits in a thing, which dissolves out any excess spray paint. I used to do a mix of either. I've done a lot of things. I did soap and water mix. I've done rubbing alcohol, both pure and diluted with water, and I found that nothing works better than just straight up mineral spirits to keep the old caps in. So yeah, I'm gonna do the upper level highlights, I guess, then for the upper level highlights, and I guess lower push in shadows for these rocks. So I'm seeing more comments coming in, but I'm gonna hold off for a little bit. So I really want to get these highlights in first, and then way more of that yellow, gold. Just push in that. My fancy highlight color, the titanium buff. Which I don't even remember if it was Marlena or my friend Rareth that got me into the titanium buff, but damn if it's not a great color. Just changes the game in terms of highlights. Yeah, I got way too much push up into that, so I'm gonna have to rework a lot of these darks. Have to rework a lot of even the midtones. And this, I used way too much spray on this whole side. I'm gonna rework that in now. Also, it depends on what cliff side I want to be on top, so that makes a difference too. This is way lighter than I wanted it to be. That's alright. I can work with that. Push some darker tones in later. And I can always push a little extra light on top of that if I need to. As long as I don't go too far with one or the other, it should be alright. Yeah. This is gonna be one of those pieces that that the dark tones are more like the highlights in a lot of my pieces. That they're gonna be the last things that I do to just kick back some of that light. So what are you guys saying? Thicker gesso with marble dust. Well, that's what's in gesso. Like, if you're going out of your way to buy marble dust, like you're literally like, might as well just be using talcum powder at that point. Like, you're probably wasting your money buying marble dust. Just saying. You can do the same thing with something other than marble dust. Okay, yeah. So plaster of Paris is something that I want to play with more, because it's something I actually have no experience whatsoever with. Um, so I'm not sure what it does in both, what it's supposed to be used for is what it's not supposed to be used for. Um, so it's one of those things that's like I want to play with it, but I also don't. I only want to get it in the instance of knowing what I want to do with it prior to getting it. There's a lot of things I'll pick up. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I want it. Plaster of Paris is something that I want to pick up only when I have a project in mind. And I think that's one of those things where, like, I've definitely heard of people using it with gesso and with mediums to thicken stuff out, but I'm not sure where it sits in terms of one, archival quality, and two, durability long term. I know it's not a super expensive product, but if I'm going to snag it and test it out for whatever might be a future video, I want to be sure that what I'm getting is something that is going to be worth it. Now that said, I've definitely picked some things up for the channel and for videos that definitely haven't been worth it, but they were a lot cheaper by a good, like, the margin of, like, this was 80 cents versus this was, like, $12 or whatever. And not that I'm that reserved in terms of picking up art supplies and cost, but I just want to be sure that if I'm getting something, is it going to be worth it? I guess it's the real. I hate to say is it worth it, because is it worth it is a multiple variable factor question, but yeah, plaster of Paris is kind of a long term. It's what I would call a long term goal thing. I mean, it took me 8 years to get a cutting mat, so it probably is going to take me 5 to get plaster of Paris. But again, it's like, I guess my problem is I want to use what it should be used for first before I decide to buy it for something else. So if I'm going to do a review of, like, plaster of Paris as an additive as for acrylics, sure, but I want to use what plaster of Paris is used for in the first place, which is plaster. At least I think so. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not good with 3D media, so even that I'm not sure about. So I don't know. Again, it's a weird. It's one of the weird things for me. If you've used plaster of Paris, you think it's a great additive to acrylics. Cool, good for you. You did the tests. Let me know how that went. Uh, More specifically, send me an email. Let me know how that went. Um, because I really want to know what your tests were like. Um, did you have a control? Did you follow the scientific method? I mean, really, like if you're gonna do something like that, you gotta have I guess the experience to back it up is my thing, and that's part of my, a lot of my part of my problems with like there's a lot of stuff that I've had in the wings, so to speak, on the channel for a long time, but I haven't done because I just haven't put in the testing time to do it. Because for a long time I uh, put stuff on the channel that um, was just stuff that I had the experience with. Like, hey, I've used this for years. I know what it does. I know the alternative uses for it. But the longer time goes on, it's like, hey, somebody sent me the idea for this product, but I haven't spent 5 years testing it, so I'm not confident in giving you an answer. So I don't want to make a video giving you guys a definitive answer if I don't know myself, you know. Also, probably again one of the reasons why I go out of my way not to do sponsorship stuff. Just because it's like sponsorship stuff, like use this product because I use this product. But it's like, yeah, but is the product a good product because they told you to say that, or is the product a good product because you have been using it for years? Like, I never want to recommend anything unless I actually can recommend something. Like if something's like kind of half shit, I'll tell you about it. And people that want to sponsor videos don't like that. They want you to like just say the positive stuff. It's like, well, no. I'm gonna tell you what I honestly think about it, and if I honestly think that it's garbage, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm not saying I've been like approached for like all these sponsorships and I've turned them down because of that reason. I mean, I've been approached for a handful, but it's always been like one-off garbage crap. Like promote our water that no one's ever heard of that gives you energy, and I'm like, I've never heard of you. No one's ever heard of you, and my channel is too small for either of the two of us to give a shit. So. Also, I made it a point early on to swear off sponsorships for this channel for that among other reasons. I have a video at some point called Something Important. It's just me being like, look, I don't do sponsorships. Here's why. Mostly because it's just like I don't like the concept that the channel becomes a way to sell something. It's like I don't want to be the channel that sells something. I want to be the channel that teaches you something. And yeah, you can do both, especially these days, but not the risk of sacrificing what I've built up. Kind of what I was saying before, the painting takes precedent over the filming. Like the video might be subpar, but if the painting's good, that's all I care about. Right, I might be pretty close to stopping for the day because I'm actually starting to get tired here. To gather up some more paint on my brush just to push out this rock structure. Plaster of Paris used in fresco painting. Maybe. Um, I'd say if you're doing fresco painting, are you also using egg tempera? Because that's kind of what fresco painting. I mean, tempera versus fresco, kind of a little bit of there's a little bit of a historical overlap there, but also at the same time, like both fresco and egg tempera have issues with archival quality, cracking, depending on what you're doing with them and what substrate you're using. Uh, Not necessarily the best thing to do as a modern artist. So I can understand the desire to try it, but as far as utilizing I don't know, medium, I guess you could call it, strictly for the sake of like I'm doing I'm going doing fresco because fresco. It's like, but why are you doing fresco? Like, are you restoring a church uh, facade or the murals on top of above the altar? No, then there probably is no reason why you should be doing fresco. Other than maybe the learning experience, like that's pretty much it. Um, really, just fresco is quite literally the already died out art. um, so there's not a lot of reason for it, and I guess yeah, maybe that's why plaster Paris exists. Maybe there's enough artists out there that I don't know about that are still doing frescoes, but why why are you doing frescoes is the real question to that. Is the use of historical materials worth it, or are you just holding on to something that shouldn't be held on to? I suppose is my question, but I think that's a more complex question to get into, and probably something I shouldn't be trying to answer on the fly. Get some of my darker color in here. I'll probably have to toss a toss a sheet of plastic over this because I bet I'm going to be working on this tomorrow. So I'm actually now I'm really playing with the varying textures in the cliffs, which is something I really enjoy. But I also don't want to lose the colors I've built up. Also, the colors I've built up are like a yellow. Excuse me, I'm dehydrated now. Um, the yellow, the nickel azo gold, and some of my used paint colors. So it's I'm not like 6 mixes in to where I can't replicate this tomorrow, which is good. I tend to let my palette dry out when I haven't used it even for a week, because I want to I want to remember what colors I was using. The only way for me to do that is to let my colors sit out and dry. I'm like, oh, it's that color, it's that color, it's that color, because I see what palette I had prior. Now, if I'm trying to recreate a painting I haven't touched in 6 months, well, at that point, it's just me grasping at straws, so different things. One thing I think I will do before I get finished with this today, though, is just notice I want to get this at least covered in, and then I'll come over with my my black paint marker to at least sketch out what I will be doing after this point, so you guys can see that. Okay. I'm going to look at the last couple of questions. I'll think about them, and then I'll rinse my brushes, and we'll get back to that in a second. Okay, brushes are rinsed and we should be just about good. Let me grab my paint marker. Mm. So, yeah, gold mediums. Yeah, they are expensive, but depending on what you're getting, they might last you a while. I've got a whole mess of them, actually. I've got, let's see what it's regular gel matte, soft gel gloss, tar gel, which I've had for like 4 or 5 years and I've used very little of. Fine pumice gel, which I probably need to make a video on solely just for this, specifically because uh, it's just like the most amazing thing ever for both grounding as well as mostly for just for grounding. Um, coarse pumice gel, which I'm not restocking, and I've had for like 5 years because it's really limited uses. Micaceous iron oxide, which is somewhere between a color and a medium. Molding paste, base standard. Hard molding paste, which I got at a clearance at a sale for $10, which I'm really happy about. Actually, use it. I use this stuff more around the house as like as a putty more than I use it in the studio for anything else. Light molding paste used to use this more often. I don't need this as much anymore to build rock textures and stuff. Coarse molding paste, which to me is like fine pumice gel. If fine pumice gel was a paste, it would be the coarse molding paste. Crackle paste, fun to play with, literally no practical uses whatsoever, and that's it. That's the thing. I've got a lot of them, but I've built them again over the course of like 5 years, so it's a thing. I've got a bunch. Um, what else is in here before I get to this point? Let's see. Something conservation. I've really been uh, really been. Wow, that smeared all over the place. Uh, Loving this guy, Baumgartner Restoration. If you guys are unfamiliar with that channel, go subscribe to him right now. He's incredible. Um, Long-term art conservator, works on things centuries old, really incredible stuff from Renaissance era things to 1800s era, I would say, even to some semi more 20th century restorations. Super satisfying. It's actually taught me a lot about painting and archival quality and stuff in the past year or so that I've been watching the channel. Really, really cool to see, and it's actually made me think about a lot of stuff in terms of both when I approach a piece as well as what I'm doing with the pieces as I'm working on them. Um, Chat's going a little faster than I can get back to it with. Uh, there's a lot of artists on YouTube now. There's a lot of artists on YouTube now than there were when I started doing my channel. There were like maybe 3 other acrylic painters on YouTube, and now there's like everybody. So it's kind of hard to keep up. Wow, somebody just came into chat recently that I think I might have to give my second ban for the night to, which I didn't want to have to do. Like, I guess I'm just attracting haters tonight. What the hell? Um, Dark next to the light makes it pop. That's the concept of contrast, and that's actually something I do a lot in my work because I like that. One thing the artist, fellow YouTuber artist, Sycra, you guys know that channel. Actually have some open connection with that guy from back in the day. Um, he's a great artist. He's primarily a digital painter, illustrator, and designer. But the one thing he taught me was that part of what you develop in your own style is just knowing what you like. Which prior to him saying that, I didn't actually realize. And then I was like, wow, I like things that are like high contrast and bright colors, and that's what I've built into my own style in that way because that's what I like. So that's what I paint. But yeah, so the light and the dark, the contrast pop, really a big thing. Um, okay, yeah, so we do have a passing troll, it seems, um, which is weird. It's not something I normally get, um, like ever. Like it's just wow. Guess I don't stream enough on YouTube anymore. Um, bunch of mediums. I've actually really wanted to try the Liquitex mediums more. I know they've got a bunch of ones that are both comparable to the golden ones as well as that are also really different. Um, but yeah, so that's a thing that I've been meaning to do when I have the extra, I don't know, $80 to spend on a whole mess of mediums. Um, see, I'm kind of doing a back and forth thing with this tree, back and forth and up and around that. One arc, one around, maybe this way. Hide that crap that I did before. This is roughly where that tree will live, kind of up like that, and the willowiness of it, like that. Just take that way up and around. I'll get my bigger brush pen in a second and round some of this out. There we are. And then my fingers, boom, 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 boom. Alright, like that. Get the big one. Actually, I want to maybe get the gray. That way I'm not forcing it to be too dark too soon. Most of my regular painting kind of sit like this, like what I call two sessions. So main session for a lot of the fun work, quote unquote. Um, and then it's just about pushing some of that color and some of that extra detail into the second layer. So that's more or less where the next one will sit. I won't be streaming the second half of this by any means. I almost never do. 9 times out of 10, I need the extra concentration to actually work on the piece versus work on the piece and try and talk at the same time. But definitely been playing with some roots and things up in here, wrapping that around to the other side. And then, of course, I'm sure this piece will end up at the Lawrenceville Gallery sometime, probably, I would say November, later this year, something like that. Got a lot of pieces this year that I wanted to send to the gallery, but things happened, and it was like, well, the pieces that I put in like November didn't get a lot of viewership because, well, everything went to shit. There we go. Got the contrasts for part 2. Ready to go. Let me check back with you guys, and I think we're going to call it a night. Because we're, what time is it? Oh, it's only 9:30. Jeez, I can totally toss a movie in before the end of the night. I've been meaning to watch John Wick. I've never watched the John Wick, I guess, series at this point. That's kind of on my radar right now. Rated Pat Catans. Wow, that went out of business 10 years ago. Come on, you can't be still saying you rated that store. That was really way too long ago. I will say though, Marlena, you gotta go where I got my my hard molding paste for $10. That was like a 3/4 of a jar. Center for Creative Reuse, the offshoot from Construction Junction. Honestly, one of the best places to get used art supplies, and they 9 times out of 10 they have like really awesome like acrylic and oil stuff, like right when you walk in the door. So if you want like good alternative substrates as well as an access to some dirt cheap media that the local art students are dumping off, go to Center for Creative Reuse. Like, my God, the stuff I've gotten from there. So cheap, so good, really awesome. Galkid Light. Hold on. Do I have some of that? I do. I have some Galkid Light. I ruined it. I ruined my Galkid Light by leaving the cap off. It should be like liquidy. I turned it into gelatin, or like maybe like jam. I guess jam or jelly. The best way to describe it. So I need to get a new one of these. But I have been playing with oils off and on in the past almost a year now as an upper layer to my acrylic paintings, but not in every piece, but in like maybe 3 or 4 pieces that I've done. But loving what I can do with them as a glazing layer for a lot of pieces. But the Galkid Light has been a godsend for that because it just it speeds up drying time so much. 7 or 8 years since you did anything in oil paint. Really? Jeez. I thought for sure you would have been doing more since then. Which gallery? The Red Fishbowl Gallery. I been plugging that to you forever. Unless you're talking about somebody else, because I'm not sure. Hey, good night, April. Sorry I missed that. John Wick is good. Violent though. Well, that doesn't faze me. Wait, Pack Tams was open last year? What happened? Wait a minute. What? Pack Tams wasn't open last year. Did they come back? Like, what? I'm very confused. Yeah, so Construction Junction. So Construction Junction, the big place. You've obviously been there. If you go sort of around the corner, down the street, there's the actually it's the people that run Construction Junction is the Pittsburgh Recycle, whatever the fuck ever. Um, but it's the Center for Creative Reuse, and it's literally fabric scraps, mixed media scraps, 3D scraps. I've seen everything from uh, like a whole vat of tiny little 1 ounce corked glass bottles. There was a whole vat of like CPU fans for computers. Just uh, chunks of tile and wood, and I got there was the one other thing I got there. I was really happy with myself for. I got a drafter's triangle there for the sticker on it says $1, but if you're there after like 2 or 3 p.m., everything's half off, like a yard sale. So I got it for 50 cents, and it's absolutely beautiful, basically brand new thing. That if you went to Blick's for one of these, it would be like $5-6. Got it for 50 cents. Um, I got a what else did I get there? I got an in box. This said $3. I think I got it for one. No, wait a minute, hold on. It says $3 here. It says 10 on this, which means I probably got it for 5 when I bought it. This is a whole in block inkstone that I got for at that point $5, which even in that sense it's probably a little overpriced. But the box itself, like clearly this hasn't been. This is a box of the 1980s. So this came out of somebody's old collection. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of stuff out of that place. I've gotten like big vat of stretcher bars, tons of stuff out of there. Totally worth going. I'll have to check their hours. If you want to go with me, I will absolutely go with you down to that place because it's awesome. There's oftentimes a lot of paint stuff there that I'm like, do I pick it up? Do I not pick it up? It's like in my hand 6 billion times. Old negatives. The one time I was there, there was an entire photo projection negative machine for like a dark room, and for a couple hundred, and it was like, who unloads something like this? This is both a relic and like worth so much more money than dropping it off. But yeah, incredible place. Sorry, getting a little ranty. Again, do you varnish after using oil? I think April left already, but also asking Marlena. But I use personally. I mean, I haven't done a ton of oil, but I use super cheapo Utrecht matte oil varnish. It's like the cheapest thing you can get that does the job. Technically speaking, anything in oil should be varnished, as long as you put an isolation coat down first. Murals and mixed media. Well, yeah, if you're doing a mural, then you're not using a varnish in most cases. Varnish everything, even drawings. Well, let's say at that point a varnish, you're talking about a spray top coat, which isn't necessarily a varnish, but same deal. Yeah. Good thing we don't live together. We'd be hoarding art supplies. You have no idea. Probably we probably won't get together until Christmas party again. But yeah, if you bother to bug me about the stuff I've got stashed away, I can really I can surprise you. Also, if you're still watching, I started making paint this year. I got a grinder and mixing plate, and I've been grinding my own pigment. Oh my god! Already forgot about my headphone cord. So yeah, I can make you some oil paint if you're interested, or watercolors. Actually, watercolors are easier to make because they're easier to clean up. But I think I'm going to leave that for tonight. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me in chat. This has been great. Um, Kind of one of the best live shows I've had in a while, actually. I have to remember this for next. Like, it wasn't even planned. I was like, just hey, spontaneous live show on a Sunday night, and I guess everyone was online. So I have to remember that for future events. But yeah, really needed this. I really needed just the time away to step into my studio and work on stuff. Um, I've been just mentally, creatively, spiritually, and all that other non-physical stuff backed up a ton. Uh, so I needed this so much. I feel like now I can sleep. Well, I can already guarantee I'm going to sleep better tonight than I've probably slept in like 3 months, because I haven't really had the outlet to paint like this in a while. Like, I mean, I have, but like every time I got into the studio, it's just like, I don't know, work. I just the thing and sweating and everything's hot, and maybe I just hate summer. That's the end all be of this. I hate summer. I want it to be cold again. Uh, but yeah, partway through this painting, if you don't see this, actual high probability this is going to go up. This, as you see it now, is going to go up to Instagram in about 30 seconds, or really whenever the stream ends. After that, you'll see it on Facebook and DeviantArt first, my website eventually. And if you happen to live in Pittsburgh, you'll see it at the Red Fishbowl Studios Gallery sometime before the end of the year. But I guess at that point, thanks guys for watching. This has been Center Block Studios. Keep on creating, and I will see you guys next time.